Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are listening this English video, I will welcome you. My name is Lomachu, I'm Javier Loma from Spain, and I will do some videos in English about Dragon Ball Super card game. The big part of my content is around this card game, but it's in Spanish language, so I decided to do some videos in English to take more amount of audience in these videos. So if you are English watcher, sorry, my level of English is not the best. I will try to do my best around do these videos in English, so I hope that you enjoy it. This time I will talk around the tier list. As you know, this 15 November and 20th of November, Bandai will launch the Draftbox 6 Giants of the Giants Unisons and the Bardock Crew, Hildegard and other updated, and some cards around other archetypes like Gogeta, like Towa and the other archetypes. So I decided to do a little update of this tier list. I separated in 5 tiers. The most important tiers are is A and B. The C and the D I will talk a little bit around it, but this is not the important point. So I am a competitive player, so I will speak around this top 16 decks or top 18 and the winner decks that are the best. Okay. So in the D tier we have the for fun decks, decks that didn't have so much potential, the Yetin Old or reprints leaders like Sword Striker or the Gohan reboot that they have no the potential in comparison with other decks, or other banned decks like Super Saiyan 3 Son Goku, and for example Shenron that was big nerfed. So there is not all the decks, but I think that this can be the tier list, the most big tier of all the decks. That is for fun, it's archetype, you can play with your friends, with locals, but there isn't not good. In the C tier there is decks with a unique mechanic or a unique type of deck, like Milemba, like Cooler with the Mill, World Tournament, Boo, the search leaders that they have a potential, but with the nerfs or the Broly that is coming up so much, there isn't very good. Hit with the skillless, Future Trunks with the change of the cards of the life. With the Rebel you can put in the energy and you can pseudo ramp with this skill, or Chopo with Unison limited skill, Baby with the counters, Gohan with the skillless cards, Garlic. I hate Garlic, okay, this is not my favorite movie. I think this movie they never exist. So it's a point that the decks have to go up below the for fun decks, and it's a good point because it's for fun decks, but with a point that he can be a little bit better for the than the for fun decks, and it's a very good point. So if you can try it, you can test some list of this. But these decks is the point that if Bandai launch a little boost for him, they can be top 8, top 16 decks for a big tournaments, or very good decks in locals. So I think that these decks are in the point of view that if they receive new decks, they can be very good. Now we are going to talk about the big ones, the good decks. We are talking about top 16 decks. Okay, you are thinking now, what is this deck here? We are talking about top 16 decks and decks for locals. Okay, you can play this in locals and winning, and you can play this in a PPG, in a card market series, this in Europe, and you can reach top 16, top 18 with a very specific build. Why? Because these decks, there is not a big knowledge about that, and you can be a little rogue deck, but because some of these decks are around themed around in archetype, there is a little problems around building. But I think that these decks have a little potential for winning the top 8 decks, but there is not the best. Obviously, if you wanna win, take the winners decks and copy and do a meta call of thing, and it's good. But this factor of meta call, you can do it in these decks with some tests or with some matchups that is so positive, like Bulma versus Gotenks is very good around other two, because for example Hatchak is very good around decks with low cost cards. For example Gogeta is very good around green decks, because you can remove with the minus cards other decks. Pan is very, for example, is very solid, but the staple cards are building around him, around her, but this is not the best. Broly, for example, with the Unison cards received a new attacker, because you can only have 2 battle cards on the front, but with this update of the Unison, I see some guys playing Broly and it's good. That Broly, for example, with the big ones of 30 attack is very annoying. So these decks, you can build around him and strategy to counter the top decks. There is no considered big ones or big meta. For example, Bardock with the apes are very good. There is a update that it can be very good. But for example, I think Soul Striker is very good for the apes with the Bardock and Fasa. There is the 2 cards that it come into the Soul Striker in another in someone builds, and it's very good. If you have another question of this, you can put below in the comments. You can I think that this deck can be very good. You have a deck list. Probably I will not have it, but we can talk about if these decks have a good point around playing off, if you think there is a very trust. But in my point of opinion, I think that these decks can be very good and can be big contenders of top 8. Only top 8. I don't think that a Vegito with the anniversary box update can be win a big tournament, but well, if you have a rogue strategy, it can be work. In the 8 tier, the top 8, okay, good decks for big tournaments. These decks are the big ones that you can play if you wanna win or if you wanna reach a top 8. Remember that is from draft box 6 and the expansion sets 14 and 15. I think that it was 14, 15, 15, 14, 15, 15, 7, 16. I don't know. So in this tier we have the red Broly with the swaps that are very annoying, with the discard temporary that send the cards to the war, but there is return, but it can be very good. He forced you to do have hand, and you cannot protect from the attacks. The overstrike critical 6 cost is very good with the secret, and that it can be so good with the -5 to your leader, can be really oppressive. But I think that the mono red decks are very vulnerable to the trunks, to return to the hand and other counters, and it's a point that you have I don't know how sold I said it, but it's a point that you have to know to play this deck. Agents of Destruction, I think is a very oppressive deck, but have a bad point that it's a very linear deck. So It's a bad point with the Android 13. It's a very annoying card because Topo is a good card against the Agents of Destruction, but if he plays the Android 13, it's GG well played, because you lose 2 energy to do nothing, because you only negate 1 attack and lose 1 card of your hand. Gohan Reboot is around all-in deck that I hate it so much. A friend from my city play it and I hate it so much, because it's a very good deck. Okay, it's a leader that can destroy you and take advantage with the Fit Kamehameha, because it does you -3 cards in the hand, really, because the critical take the life and go to the drop, and you never see this card. So if you didn't have a sparking card that needs cards in the drop, this advantage is very good, and you need to know that it's gonna be happen, because this deck draw a lot of cards. It takes so much life, so if you can protect the first and the 2 rounds of big attacks, you can win big. But if you don't, he gonna destroy you so hard. Vegito and Zamasu will be the same deck with the blue mono deck, mono blue build. You can check one of my videos on my channel that I speak around that. But it's in Spanish. If you didn't know Spanish, it's so hard that you know the video, but I think it's a very good video. Vegito is more defensive, because when you lose a Unison or a battle card with blocker, for example, because you have so much blockers in this deck, you're gonna draw, you're gonna switch energy, so you are gonna be more defensive, and you can stall the games so much too late game with the baby Unison and the baby Ape, and you can take some counter to play the baby and reach the win, because you have the skill leader that gives you Unison's triple attack. Triple attack is in English. No, triple strike. Okay. And the game is in English, but sometimes I translate to Spanish. And the Zamasu with the leader ability of take energies and go to the drop. You can take 1 energy with the cost 1 Zamasu, and you can take a dual attack. You can return 1 card to your opponent, and it's very annoying, because you every turn you are going to control, or you are going to be more offensive with the Monaka card of BT1 of double strike. You have a dual attack double strike reader every turn if you want, so it's very annoying. The Shinsenron deck is a very good deck that is going to receive some cards every set, I think, because Shinsenron and the 4-star and the 3-star roll are released, but we need so much dragons, the 4-star and the other guy of the freeze, because there is 2 dragons that are like sun and freeze and something that, and it's a very good Staller deck, because there is so much blockers, 9 cost that has blocker prevents and negates abilities of some cards, so it's very good. But it's a deck that is very vulnerable to, for example, Invoker, because you cannot stop this burn damage. But with the blockers, with some cards that negate abilities, is very good. And I think that this deck is gonna be a winner deck, a very defensive winner deck in the future. But in this point, I don't think that is the best. So you can buy it from the future and build around it the next card that will be launched. The Goku Dredge, the Goku that can clean the board with the pay of 2 life and bars 3. If you don't know, there is a 5 cost Goku in the draft box 6 that can't destroy barriers, take counters of your unison counters from your opponent, and is very good with a cost for Goku with barrier and deflect that is very good. And I think this deck is gonna be very good again because there is a hand control against blue decks is very oppressive, can be very good clean the board against Gotenks or Vehex is very good. But I don't think that is gonna be the best deck in the format, obviously. But only this card can do it very good because you cannot need to remove the counters of the opponent with attacks. You can do it with this Goku that have triple strike and barrier because it's very good. So I hope that this deck is gonna be up because I like it so much, but I don't play it. I played 2 tournament winners. I'm so bad with the decks. Anyone. Lotus Lug, the new yellow cards of Lotus Lug are very good. I think that cost 3 yellow that restrict your opponent to add cards from your deck, except in the draw phase if it's in rest, with the successor, with the bond, and the tokens of the yellow cards. Can be a very good menace in some decks. And there is the main pointing that I like it because you can play in blue green, yellow green, or mono green, and around the successor Xenocel. And it's very 3 points very good because you can have more control defensive deck and more combo with the yellow green. Control can be blue green combo yellow green, or more aggro with the Anguilla and the other cards of mono green. And it's a very annoying point because you didn't know how it's going to play, and it's a good point to take it because if you wanna play this deck, think that the leader for the front part is very bad, but from the other part you can discard every turn. You can play around this point of discard one, and the bonds. But if you didn't like it, you can play around the mono green deck that is very good with the Cell Kames, the Android 18 discards super combo, and the other points that make this deck very annoying and very good in control of the hand. The last point, the big tournament winners. Okay, these decks probably can win a tournament. For example, if the tournaments will be best of 1, Gohan, Reboot, and Vehex will be there. But this is around best of 3 tournament, both 3. I think it can say in English, but I don't know. Gotenks, what I should take around Gotenks? Draw, discard, cow cards, deflect around the blue decks because it's very annoying. You cannot play Trunks around the fusions. Draw some cards, can control your hand, can control your board, win cow, and destroying the unison prevents the trades, the positive trades, because her cards, the cards obtain revenge. And if you didn't destroy the unison, he will take your life and take 1 to the drop and discard 3 because it's very annoying. The best deck in the format right now. Think that cleaning board and other decks like this are very annoying from him. Invoker with the Dead Beam is very annoying versus him because didn't trigger the auto of the Gotenks fusion. And there is it, Invoker with the burn combo, okay, with the catastrophic blow and the combo of the leader that you can take it 6 damage. It's very good, but I think that is the deck more easy playing against him, because you know what he's doing. In early game is very passive deck, so you can take this point and be very aggressive with Behengs, for example, or with Gohan Reboot, and it's a point to take it versus him. Solo Striker with the mono blue. With the mono blue Bolt is very solid, with the Zamasu, the blockers, Obuni, Apes, etc. Is so good point that you can play it because it's solid. It can be very good versus all match, except Gotenks, I think, because repeat, all Gotenks hand deflect, so you cannot play around the trunks. That is very good, but it's very flexible and very all-rounded because versus against decks in the meta. And I think that is very good because he receives some cards of the Bardock's decks, of the Bardock's crew, of the draft box 6, and it's very good. For the last one is Behex. There is a very good deck. The Bandai nerfed him 2 times with the robots of Universe 3 and the BBD super combo, and his until that is a very good deck. It's very annoying, very good. It depends with the RNG of the cards you burst, you send to the drop, but it's very good. So I think that is gonna be a good deck for a long time to get. So this is the end of the video. I think that you like it. I explained so much the top 8, top 16 and big winner decks. In my level of English, repeat, I didn't be a native English language, but I try to do my best in these videos to speak very fluid English. I didn't have a point for tanking. It's me talking in this site in this point. I'm going to talk. I think that is gonna be better for the time, because if I speak so much English, my English level will be better. Okay, so if you like this, you can check my socials below in the video. You can check the comments below and write around that, because for example, your English is the worst English that I ever heard, and this. If you like it, you can smash the like button, the subscribe button, and I will take it for do better videos in English. This is all, and have a good time. Bye bye.